Hello class, this is a lecture video on muscular system and there are a few slides na natapos na natin. So let's have a quick recall before we move on to our next subtopic on the muscular system. So just a quick recall, muscular system, when we say muscular system, we are talking about the different muscles of the body, what are the major muscle groups of the body, and the associated structures. When we say associated structures, ito yung mga ligaments, tendons na nakikita natin na nakakabit sa muscles and of course sa bones natin. What are the functions? Na-mention din natin last time that the muscular system is very important for locomotion and movement. And at the same time, it supports the following functions: maintenance of posture and body position, circulation of blood and movement of body fluids, heat production, and thermoregulation, as well as meat production. So ito yung muscle na nakikita natin kapag bumibili tayo doon sa palengke or kapag bumibili yung nanay natin sa palengke or sa grocery and or sa supermarket rather. And these are very important muscle of farm animals because they are more tender than the other muscle groups, and since they are more tender than the other muscle groups, they have higher prices. Ano? Okay. And this was our last topic when we met last time during our last meeting. So these are the general properties of muscle tissues. We have excitability, that's the ability to respond to stimulus or stimuli. Contractility, that's the ability to shorten and generate force. Number three is extensibility, that's the ability to stretch without damage. And then elasticity, that's the ability to return to its original shape. And for you to better understand itong general properties of muscle tissues, nagkaroon tayo ng quick activity last time. We answered this and I hope you already note yung mga sagot dito sa questions na ito. And you answered correctly naman. And then, we also discussed the different types of muscle tissue last time, the skeletal muscle, the smooth muscle, and the cardiac muscle. And it's very important to know the distinguishing characteristics or yung distinguishing features or unique features ng bawat muscle tissue para mas maintindihan natin yung kani-kanilang importance and kani-kanilang function. So when we say skeletal muscle, kaya siya tinawag na skeletal muscle kasi ito yung mga muscles na nakakonect sa skeleton or sa skeletal system. Meaning to say, ito yung mga muscles na nakakonect sa ating mga bones. And these muscles are voluntary. Ibig sabihin, saka lang sila gagalaw kapag ginalaw mo. If you move, um, if your brain says na igalaw. Okay? And then they have striations. Yan, may striations sila. And then tubular ang itsura. Tapos they have many nucleus or they are multinucleated. Ibig sabihin, bawat muscle cell dito, meron ka makikitang nucleus. So that's a nucleus, another nucleus, and then another nucleus. Next, smooth muscle. Ito ay mga non-striated. So very smooth sila. And then they are spindle-shaped and uninucleated. Ibig sabihin, isa lang ang nucleus na makikita mo bawat muscle cell. This is one muscle cell. Dito sa skeletal muscle, you see two nuclei, correct? You have one here and then another one there. Next, they are involuntary. Ang mga smooth muscles natin, gumagalaw or nagpo-perform ng kanilang functions even without us telling or even without us moving them. They are the muscles usually covering the walls of our internal organs. And cardiac muscle, these are striated or this is striated muscle, branch, and uninucleated. So pareho ng smooth muscle, iisa lang ang nucleus ng bawat muscle cell sa cardiac muscle tissue. And ito ay involuntary, ibig sabihin, nagpo-perform siya ng kanyang function even without us telling it to. And then these are the muscles only, or this is the muscle that only covers the walls of the heart. So cardiac muscle, yan yung type of muscle na makikita natin sa ating heart. And we also answered this last time. That's our quick activity in order for us to better retain the information that we discussed in the previous slide. So ito yung skeletal muscle. This is the smooth muscle. Makikita natin yung mga muscles na covering our internal organs. And this is the cardiac muscle or the heart muscle. So yun yung mga natapos natin. Last meeting, it's now time for us to proceed to the next topic, which is on gross and microscopic structure of skeletal muscle. Skeletal muscle is one of the most important tissues in farm animals, not just for movement, but also because it makes up the meat we consume. Big sabihin, yung mga kinakain natin na karne, yun ay mga skeletal muscle. Except yung mga laman loob. So karamihan sa mga kinakain natin na lean meat ay skeletal, or all of those are skeletal muscle. So we have here a structure or picture that shows the different parts or the different associated structures of skeletal muscle. So this entire muscle here, you call that the muscle, or in other words, the muscle belly. And then, meron tayo mga iba't iba pang structures na nakapaloob or inside the skeletal muscle, which we will discuss one by one as we move on to the next slide. So, yung na-mention ko kanina, this is the muscle belly. Ito siya. Okay, let me use yung ating laser pointer. Okay, so this is the muscle belly. That's the thick central fleshy portion of the muscle or yung meat na kinakain natin. Yan. This is what we typically see and eat as meat. So ito yung kinokonsume natin na karne. Kinakain natin. Ang mga examples, usually, they are the ham sa mga baboy and sa karne ng baboy and round in cattle. Fascicles, ang fascicles naman, bundle of fibers that make up the muscle belly. So yung bumubuo ng mga fibers para mabuo itong muscle belly ay fascicles. Ito siya. So this is one fascicle, another fascicle, another fascicle, another fascicle, another fascicle. Kaya kapag hiniwa-hiwa mo yung karne, you are basically getting yung muscle fibers, bundle of muscle fibers. Kasi nga, fibrous yung skeletal muscle, correct? So yun yung mga fascicles ng muscle belly. So maraming mga fascicles or maraming mga bundle fibers, you make up, or maraming mga muscle fibers, you make up the muscle belly. Okay? Bundles of muscle fibers. Yan siya. And then, kapag hiniwa-hiwa mo pa ulit, sinubdivide mo pa ulit itong fascicles, itong mga fascicles na yan, you get the muscle fiber. Okay? Huwag malilito. So we have the muscle belly, and then hiniwa mo yung muscle belly, you get the fascicle, and then hiniwa-hiwa mo pa yung fascicle, you get the muscle fiber. These are the actual long cylindrical cells of skeletal muscle. So yung pinakamaliit na portion na nakikita natin pag naghihiwa tayo ng karne, that's your muscle fiber. So na maingatan kayo, that's the muscle fiber ng karne. Okay? So yung nagkakasya in between your teeth, those are your muscle fibers. Okay? So kaya siya natawag na gross structure kasi itong mga structures na to, muscle belly, fascicles, at saka muscle fibers or muscle cells, ay nakikita siya with the naked eye. Once again, kaya siya tinawag na gross structure ay dahil itong mga parts na to ay nakikita siya with the naked eye. Kaya nga sinabi ko kanina na yung mga naisingit-singit dyan sa ngipin natin kapag kumakain tayo, those are muscle fibers because still we can see them and we can remove them. Now we move on to microscopic structure. Kapag naman microscopic structure, kailangan na natin ng, of course, microscope to see itong mga parts na to. So we have here myofibrils. So di ba, sinubdivide natin. So we have the skeletal muscle, the fascicles or the muscle fiber bundle, and then hiwa-hiwain mo yung fascicles or muscle fiber bundle, you get the muscle fiber. Ito yung gross structure, correct? And then hiwa-hiwain mo ulit, subdivide mo ulit yung muscle fiber, makikita mo yung tinatawag nating myofibril. But you can only see this under a microscope. So these are tiny thread-like structures inside each muscle fiber. And ang kanilang arrangement ay repeating units of sarcomeres. So ito mga nakikita natin, repeating units yan ng so mga linya-linya na yan, they are repeating units of sarcomeres. And when we say sarcomere, this is the functional unit of muscle contraction. Once again, functional unit, very important, functional unit of muscle contraction. Yung sarcomere is the segment between two Z lines. Ang Z line, yung parang ganyan yun, nagsinang Z. Yung parang Z yung itsura. So, these are the segment between two Z lines. So, this is a sarcomere, yung isa dyan. I-zoom natin, ito siya. This is the entire sarcomere. Maraming mga sarcomeres, you call that myofibril. Maraming mga myofibrils compose a muscle fiber. Maraming mga muscle fibers compose a muscle fiber bundle or fascicle. And maraming fascicle or maraming muscle fiber bundles together compose a skeletal muscle. Okay? And going back to the sarcomere, it is made up of protein filaments called actin and uh, myosin. Okay? So ang actin, so these are protein filaments. Ang actin, yan yung mas manipis na filament or the thinner filament, and then myosin, that's the thick filaments. Okay? So saan dyan? Ito yon. Thin, thin filament, and then this is the thick. Siyempre, mas makapal siya. So this is the thick filament, that's the myosin, and then thin filament, that's the actin. So ito yung mga nagmo-move. Kaya siya tinawag na functional unit of muscle contraction because these are what basically moves during contraction. Okay. So speaking of contraction, okay, just review. So ito siya, we have the actin myosin and then comprising yung ating sarcomere, correct? Actin myosin sa loob ng sarcomere, and then many sarcomeres comprise a myofibril. Okay? Myofibril, and then many myofibrils compose muscle fiber. And then many muscle fiber compose a fascicle, and many fascicles compose the muscle belly or muscle, the entire muscle itself. Since may nakita kayo dito sa illustration ng mga other terms like endomysium, perimysium, and epimysium, these are membranes. Okay? Ito yung mga connective tissue membranes or connective tissue layers that wraps kada fiber or kada fiber or kada structure. So ang nagra-wrap, yung may manipis, so kapag halimbawa nagkakatay kayo ng karne, yung manipis na nakabalot, kumbaga, doon sa entire muscle belly, entire karne, that's your epimysium. Okay? The entire karne or the entire muscle belly is the epimysium. Perimysium naman, siya yung membrane, yung may manipis na parang kulapot ba? So, manipis na membrane or connective tissue layer that wraps around a bundle of muscle fiber or yung tinatawag nating fascicle. So, yan, yung mga puti-puti na yan na nakikita ninyo, siya yung perimysium. Kasi yung sa loob ng perimysium, yan na yung fascicle na tinatawag. Fascicle, another fascicle, another fascicle. And then, sa loob pa niyan, ay mga muscle fibers, and yung bumabalot or yung connective tissue na bumabalot kada muscle fiber ay endomysium. So from outside to the inner portion, we have the epimysium wrapping around the muscle belly, perimysium wrapping around the fascicle or the bundle of muscle fibers, and each muscle fiber is wrapped by endomysium. Okay? Yan. Huwag kakalimutan. And then, we also will be encountering terms like tendons and ligaments. So, pag sinabi natin tendons, ay ito yung connective tissue na nagko-connect. So, kaya nga siya tinawag na connective tissue kasi it connects, no? So, tendon is a connective tissue or structure that connects a muscle to a bone. So, this is a bone, and then this is a muscle. What connects them is a tendon. And then ligament naman, ligament ay siya isang connective tissue na nagjo-join or nagko-connect sa two bones. So this is one bone, another bone, ligament ang nagko-connect sa kanila. And then syempre yung joint, that's where two bones meet. So ito siya in actual. Yan yung mga tendons natin, no? Ito yung muscle, correct? This is a muscle, and then meron tayong bone dyan. What connects the muscle and the bone is the tendon. Yan. Ito tendons yung mga yan. Then another tendon here. This is a muscle, right? And then we have a bone here. That's the tendon. Another tendon. For the ligaments naman, nahirapan akong makakuha ng picture from the internet, but this is what it looks like. So this is a bone, and this is a bone, but connects. Oh, may bone pa rin dyan. This is a bone, another bone. What connects the two bones, yan yung tinatawag nating ligaments. Okay? Now we move on to muscle contraction. Ano? So muscles contract because of a process called the sliding filament theory. Huwag ninyong kakalimutan itong theory na ito. Very important siya. Siya yung nag explain sa sliding filament theory. Okay. So meron tayong 6 steps to summarize yung sliding filament theory. We will not go very much in detail with each step, pero in simplest terms is para mag-contract ang mga muscles, syempre merong signal from the nervous system. Pag sinabi nating signal from the nervous system, yung brain natin ay kumbaga minamandohan yung muscle na mag-contract. Meaning, kailangan mo nang mag-contract. Probably because a need arises or merong certain stimulus or kumbaga may nagtitrigger, may kailangan siyang i-rescue or kailangan ng response ng katawan for the muscles to contract. So, signal from the nervous system. So, merong na-receive na stimulus, correct? And sasabihin ng nervous system doon sa muscle fiber, kailangang mag-contract. But before the contraction, hindi naman agad-agad na, ay, mag-contract ka, then magko-contract agad. So the signal from the nervous system will cause the release of calcium ions. So meron tayong mga calcium ions present sa muscle cell. Very important ang calcium sa muscles. Kasi yan yung kumbaga nagbubukas doon sa binding site ng actin P at saka myosin. Remember yung ating um, yan, close. Makikita ninyong close ito, correct? Pag merong na-release na signal from the nervous system, tapos na-release ang calcium ions, yung calcium yung magbubukas nitong binding site na to. We have the actin and the myosin. So mag-open yan. Mag-open yan dahil sa calcium present sa muscle cells natin. Okay, so calcium opens the way, meaning opens or uncovers the binding site between the actin and myosin. And then, magkakaroon ngayon ng cross-bridge formation. Pag sinabing cross-bridge formation, yung myosin at saka actin, kumbaga, kaslada lang, tag of war. Kung alam niyo yung tag of war, parang ganun yung mangyayari. Yung thin and thick filament or yung actin at saka myosin magta-tug of war. So that's what you call cross-bridge formation. And then, pag nangyari yon yung tug of war na yan, or kumbaga, kasi lang shake hand ba? And then, number 4 is power stroke. Nangyayari ang power stroke kapag ginuyod-dan. Aya? O ginuyod-dan, ano ang mangyayari? It becomes, or yung mga sarcomeres nagsushorten. Nagsushorten mga sarcomere, that creates the contraction of muscles natin. Diba? So, if contract, halimbawa, i-contract mo yung biceps mo, it shortens, correct? Yung mga muscle fibers. It shortens yung mga sarcomeres. And then number 5, ATP resets the cycle. Siyempre, kailangan ng ATP. Pag sinabing ATP, that's your adenosine triphosphate. ATP or adenosine triphosphate is the energy currency of the cell. Kumbaga, yan yung energy or powerhouse or yung source of power ng ating mga muscles para mag-contract at saka mag-relax. Mag-contract, mag-relax, mag-contract, mag-relax, kailangan ng ATP. Siyempre, hindi naman forever na number 4. Kung halimbawa, nag-stick ka sa number 4, hindi na magre-relax ang muscle. May problema na doon sa system mo. So, kailangan na ng energy to reset the cycle. When ATP resets the cycle, ang ibig sabihin nun, ile-let go na ng actin at saka myosin yung isa't isa. Di ba? Nag-shake hands and then they grab each other and then kapag nagkaroon ng ATP, magle-let go. And then, that's the relaxation na. Okay? So, with an illustration, parang ganito siya. Okay? So, meron naman tayong nakikitang another term dito, correct? Action potential. Pag sinabi nating neuromuscular junction, this is just the, kumbaga, boundary ng nerve at saka muscle. No? Neuro, meaning the nerve, and muscular, referring to your muscle. So, meron siyang boundary. Ang tawag niyan, neuromuscular junction. So, yung tinatawag nating action potential is just yung sinabi natin kanina na merong na-receive na stimulus from the nervous system, correct? Or merong signal from the nervous system. So, yung signal sa nervous system na yan, sasabihin niya ngayon dito na kailangan nang mag-release ng calcium ions. Okay? Just disregard itong mga specifics na ito. What is important is yung simple outline ng sliding filament theory. Once again, yung sliding filament theory, yun yung uh, theory behind our muscle contraction. Okay? So, may signal from the nervous system na kailangan ng mag-contract. So, yung signal na yan, siya yung magkokos para lumabas yung calcium from the muscle cell. So, meron kasing, di ba, uh, na-discuss natin sa functions ng muscular system na it supports yung storage of calcium ions, correct? Merong nakastore na mga minerals sa bawat muscle natin. So, ang isa sa mga mineral na nakastore sa muscle natin or sa muscular system natin ay calcium. So, nag stay siya dyan. So, kailangan ng enough calcium ng ating mga muscles. Bakit? Bakit kailangan? Kasi tumutulong siya sa contraction ng ating mga muscle. Okay. So, ngayon, so kapag nagkaroon ng signal from the nervous system, lalabas ang mga calcium ions. Yung calcium ions natin, siya yung magsasabi doon sa um, tawag dito, doon sa binding site ng actin filament para mag-attach siya sa myosin. And then, kapag nag-attach ang actin and myosin, kumbaga, ag-shake hands na, diyan na mangyayari ang cross-bridge formation, correct? Cross-bridge formation is shaking hands of actin and myosin. And then, power stroke. Power stroke is a ginuyod na. Yung power stroke, they pull each other, actin and myosin, leading to muscle contraction. And then, syempre after the contraction, kailangan ng ATP or energy para mag-relax. And then, the cycle repeats. Yun yung simple explanation of the sliding filament theory. And then we also have here major muscle groups. So major muscle groups, ito yung mga most common muscles na nakikita natin bawat area or bawat region. So we have here head and neck. Doon sa head and neck, we see masseter and brachiocephalicus. And then sa trunk, intercostals and diaphragm, etc. So in order for us to better visualize, meron tayong corresponding images or illustrations for this. So first, sa head and neck region, ito yung mga muscles, common muscles or more important muscles. So for head and neck, we have masseter muscles, yan. Tumutulong siya sa chewing, sa pagnguya. Masseter muscles and brachiocephalicus, yan. This is a brachiocephalicus to stabilize the head and neck. So para makapag-move, halimbawa may aabutin na grass, yung horse, kailangan niya ng strong na brachiocephalicus muscle. And then kailangan din niya ng strong masseter muscle para ma-chew ng maayos yung kanyang kinakain na grasses. So, for example, a cow or cattle chewing cud or chewing grasses, ginagamit niya na muscle, masseter muscle. A horse bending or extending its neck to graze, ang ginagamit niya na muscle, brachiocephalicus. Next, under the trunk naman na region or group, we have intercostal diaphragm and longissimus dorsi. Ang intercostal, kaya siya tinawag na inter kasi between. And then pag sinabi mong costal, you're actually referring to ribs. So in between the ribs. Bawat sa spaces ng ribs natin, may mga muscles dyan. Ang tawag natin dyan ay intercostal muscle. So this is an actual example. Meron ako nakita sa internet. So this is a rib. Kung makikita ninyo yung bone dyan, that's another bone, another bone. And in between the bones, meron ka makikitang muscle. And these intercostal muscles are very important for breathing. So ganun din yung diaphragm natin. Ang diaphragm makikita dito, dyan, sa part na yan. Ito pa another rib bone. So this is a rib. In between the ribs, meron kang makikitang muscles. Wait, hindi pa yan. Ito ay picture showing the diaphragm. So this is the ribs, correct? Nandyan yung mga ribs natin. And then ito yung diaphragm. Diaphragm is the muscle, very important muscle for respiration or breathing. Kumbaga, ito yung nagko-contract at saka nagre-relax kapag tayo ay humihinga. And this muscle is also the muscle that separates our thoracic cavity from the abdominal cavity. Thoracic cavity, ito, dyan na makikita yung mga heart, lungs natin, and then yung mga um, digestive system structures such as the stomach, the intestine, nandito sila sa abdominal cavity. So the muscle that separates the thoracic cavity and abdominal cavity is your diaphragm. Meron pa tayo kanina is longissimus dorsi. Ang longissimus dorsi naman is a very important muscle. Ito yung longest muscle. Kaya siya tinawag na longissimus. Longissimus meaning long. So longissimus dorsi is the longest muscle. Siya yung nakikita ninyo na muscle kapag bumibili kayo ng pork loin, ganyan. Pork chop, beef loin, tenderloin. Yan, galing yan. Or ang muscle na present dyan ay longissimus dorsi. Ayan, ito makikita din ito yung longissimus dorsi. Okay. So ito yung sinabi ko kanina na meron din sa ribs kasi sa taas ng ribs, that's your longissimus dorsi na muscle. Okay? This is a very important muscle. This is the longest muscle. Yan, longissimus dorsi din ito. Yan, loin. Saan siya na part? Kung titingnan sa tao, ito siya. Yan yung ating longissimus dorsi. Yung nakakapa ninyo sa tabi ng vertebral column. Longissimus dorsi sa hayop, ito naman siya. That's your longissimus dorsi. Okay. Next, another muscle group is yung mga nakikita natin sa forelimb. We have the trapezius. Yan yung trapezius. Latissimus dorsi. Latissimus is the largest muscle. Longissimus is the longest muscle. Latissimus dorsi is the largest muscle. Biceps brachii, of course, that's where your biceps are, and then triceps brachii. So, biceps and then triceps. Biceps sa taas or sa harap and sa likod, triceps. Likod ng forelimb. So, itong mga muscles na to, they control yung ating forelimb or front legs and shoulder movement. So, for flexion and extension of the forelegs. So, kapag nagmo-move, naglalakad yung hayop pag ginamit niya yung forelimb, ito yung mga muscles na nagwo-work. So, a horse pushing off the ground uses triceps brachii. For the hind limb naman, ito yung mga important muscles, gluteals or gluteus maximus, quadriceps, femoris, hamstrings, and gastrocnemius. These muscles are very important for hip and leg movement. Sa likod naman na muscles ito, power for locomotion, and dito din nanggagaling yung mga major meat cuts natin like ham at saka round sa baka. So a goat jumping, so kapag tumatalon daw yung goat, ginagamit niya ang hamstrings at saka gastrocnemius. So ganun din naman sa tao. We use the muscles of our hind legs for us to uh, power our movement, to jump, to skip, to walk. Yan. Very important muscles. So saan sila yung mga gluteals natin? Yan, gluteals. Sa malapit sa buttocks, malapit sa likod. And then we also have the quadriceps, your quads. What else? Latissimus dorsi, wala dito sa picture na to. Let's use another. Ayan. Latissimus hindi, sorry. Na-mention ko na pala yun kanina. Quadriceps femoris, yan, quadriceps, gluteals, and then gastrocnemius. Ang tendon buckle, siyempre yan yung nagko-connect sa muscle at saka sa bone. So, ang gastrocnemius ngayon ay nandito sa part na to. Yan. Gastrocnemius. Sa baboy naman, semitendinosus na mention natin kanina, that's your semitendinosus. Diyan mo usually tinuturok kapag nag inject ka. Kasi very muscular yon. And then we also have biceps femoris. Biceps femoris sa likod, biceps brachii sa harap. Ha? Brachii referring to your brachium or your humerus or your forelimb. Femoris referring to your bicep or muscle attached to your femur. Next, another muscle group is abdominal muscles. Mga key muscles natin ay rectus abdominis at saka mga obliques. Or yung tinatawag natin na abs. Usually, you call it abs pag sa tao. Correct? Ito yung abs ninyo. Rectus abdominis. Yan. This is your sa tao, ito siya. Sa baboy, ito. Ito na part. Yan. Ito ay sa cattle. That's the rectus abdominis. What do these muscles do? They support the trunk and they assist in breathing, urination, defecation, and parturition. So kapag umiihi, or dumudumi, or nanganganak yung hayop, ang ginagamit niya ng mga muscle ay abdominal muscles, particularly the rectus abdominis and obliques. So yan yung mga rectus abdominis position. Saan naman ang oblique? Dito sa may lateral side. May sa lateral side, ito siya, yung oblique. Nagmo-move yan, nagpo-contract yan kapag nagpo-push yung hayop. Nagpo-push during birth, umiihi, or dumudumi yung hayop. Ganon din sa tao. Ito yung nagmo-move, nagko-contract. If we urinate, defecate, and kapag nanganganak yung tao. Another muscle is pectoral muscles. Pectoral referring to the chest region. So, pectoralis major and minor ang tawag doon. Bakit major and minor? Kasi yung major is makikita sa labas and kapag inopen mo, makikita mo yung pectoralis minor. So, sa tao ito siya. So, naglalagay ako ng picture na may muscle ng tao at saka muscle ng hayop para mas mabilis ninyong maintindihan yung position. Para mas mabilis ninyong ma-memorize yung position and of course yung function ng muscle na yon. So pectoral muscles yun yung mga muscles sa chest region. Pectoral yung nakikita ninyo dito. And then if you cut open, so sa loob pa ng pectoralis major, we see pectoralis minor. So mas maliit lang siya na muscle. These muscles attach four limbs to the trunk. So yan, yung trunk yan. And then yung pectoral muscles or the pectoralis major and minor muscles, these are the muscles with economic importance sa poultry. So wala akong nilagay na picture for other animals because ito yung major muscle natin sa manok. Pectoralis major and minor. Yan yung breast part ng manok. So ito yung breast part ng manok, correct? Yan yung largest muscle ng manok. So, yung pectoralis major, yan yung unang nakikita ninyo And then, if you cut open yung pectoralis major, kasi di ba, halimbawa, hinap ninyo yan, meron pa kayong makikita, kasi lang adamay na nga muscle na pay doon sa loob. Parang may separate muscle pa siya sa loob. That's your pectoralis minor. Yung nasa labas, yung mas malaki, pectoralis major, and yung nasa loob, that's your pectoralis minor. So please answer this. Na-post siya sa MBLE ninyo. So for you to review, kindly answer this for a short knowledge check. Next, let's classify the different skeletal muscles by action. Pag sinabi nating agonist, siya yung prime mover. Kumbaga, siya yung main na nagmo-move. Main muscle na nagmo-move, okay? Kapag naman, kumbaga, siya yung bida. Kapag naman sinabi mong antagonist, siya yung nagkokontra sa movement. Antagonist nga eh. Anti-agonist. Antagonist. So, nagkokontra sa prime mover. And then, synergist. Ano yung synergist? Siya yung tumutulong sa agonist. Siya yung tumutulong. Helps the agonist. Tumutulong sa agonist para ma-perform nitong agonist na to yung kanyang function. And then, fixator or stabilizer. Kumbaga, it holds a body part steady or stable, kaya nga siya tinawag na stable, so that ang isang movement, another movement can happen slowly. O ha? So agonist, yan yung prime mover. Yan yung main muscle na nagmo-move. Antagonist, siya yung nag-oppose, nagko-kontra sa movement ng agonist para ma-balance, correct? And then synergist, siya yung tumutulong sa agonist para mas magawa pa ng agonist yung kanyang movement. And then fixator, stabilizer, siya yung tumutulong para maging steady lang, stable lang yung movement. So this is another quick knowledge check for you to better understand yung concept ng agonist, antagonist, synergist, and fixator or stabilizer. Okay? So please do this also. Please answer. This is in your MVLE. Next, factors affecting genetic muscle development. We have genetics, nutrition, exercise, and physical activity, hormones, age, sex, and health status. Ang ibig sabihin nito, so halimbawa, number 1 sa genetics, iba-iba, meron tayong iba-ibang breeds, correct? So sa baboy, mayroon tayong iba-ibang breeds. Sa cattle, may iba-ibang breeds tayo, etc. So lahat ng mga farm animals, may iba-ibang genetics or genetic composition. And sa genetics nila, sinasabi nila na or bawat breed ay halimbawa may mas mabilis mag-develop ng muscle or may mas maganda ang muscle development. Ang attributable factor doon ay yung genetics. Ibig sabihin, hindi lahat ng hayop ay pare-pareho ng muscle development. So, bawat breed, bawat variety, or bawat line, or bawat strain ng farm animal ay may kanya-kanyang muscle development. And dahil yun sa kanyang genetics or sa genes ng hayop. Number 2, nutrition. So ano ang kailangan para ah, mag-develop ang muscle? Siyempre, protein, correct? Protein is a very important macromolecule or compound in order for muscle to develop properly or to grow properly. So, kung kulang halimbawa ng nutrition, particularly protein, and syempre energy na rin, kung kulang ng protein and energy, mahirapan mag-develop or poor yung development ng muscle. Pero kung well-balanced yung kanyang nutrition or yung kanyang diet, hindi siya nagkukulang sa protein at saka energy sources, then maganda ang muscle development. So halimbawa, meron kayong nakikita sa mga bukid ninyo, tapos may mga nakapastol na baka, for example, makikita ninyo na butot balat na siya, poor yung muscle development. Probably because hindi na ibigay yung tamang nutrition sa kanila. Probably because walang enough na grasses. Probably because hindi nabibigyan ng concentrates or hindi nabibigyan ng tamang feeds yung mga hayop ninyo. That's why hindi nag-develop ng maayos yung kanilang muscles. Kaya puro halos butot balat yung nakikita. Or meron din naman kayo makikita na well-developed yung kanyang muscle. Ibig sabihin, well-fed lang yon. Kumpleto siya sa nutrition, kumpleto siya sa protein na kailangan ng kanyang muscle to develop. And then number three, exercise and physical activity. O, parang lang din sa tao. Kapag nakikita mong active, physically active yung tao, well-developed yung kanyang muscle. Ganon din sa hayop. Kung active yung hayop, well-developed din yung kanyang muscle. Ano pa ba? Hormones. So, yung mga may mga specific hormones tayo, mamimit ninyo yung mga hormones, iba't ibang hormones ng ating katawan needed by our body in order for us to function properly and in order for homeostasis to be met, may mga hormones tayo. So, yung mga hormones, example, growth hormone, ano pa ba? Testosterone, estrogen, yung mga hormones na yun, they affect muscle development. And kung halimbawa nagkulang ka sa mga hormones na yon, magkakaroon ng poor muscle development or weak muscle development. So, yung mga na-mention ko na hormones, the testosterone, estrogen, etc. So, kung halimbawa sa males, the main hormone in male, main sex hormone in male is testosterone, mas well-developed ang kanilang muscle versus sa females. Kasi sa females, konti lang ang testosterone levels natin. Mas marami ang estrogen levels ng females. Kaya, yung hormone level na yan, it also affects our muscle development. So, mag-compare ka ng male at saka female of the same genetics, of the same nutrition, of the same exercise and physical activity, mas develop pa rin ang muscle ng males because of the testosterone they have. Next, age. Siyempre, yung mga younger animals natin, mas mabilis mag-develop ang muscle. Younger animals ha, mas mabilis mag-develop ang muscle. Pero habang tumatanda yung hayop, nag-i-stop din yung muscle development. Kaya halimbawa, yung baboy, sample, pag starter stage or booster stage, pre-starter stage, mabilis yung development, mabilis yung growth ng hayop. Pero kapag dumating ka na sa grower stage, finisher stage, ganyan, konti na lang yung naidadagdag na muscle sa kanyang katawan. Yan ay sa age. Mas mabilis ang muscle development and muscle growth sa younger animals versus sa adult. And then number 6, na-mention ko na rin ito kanina, males develop more muscle than females. And health status, syempre kapag may sakit yung hayop, that also affects muscle development. And then, lastly, these are the common disorders and conditions in farm animals. We have white muscle disease. So nagkakaroon ng white muscle disease kapag kulang ng selenium or vitamin E deficiency. So ang nangyayari is nagiging stiff yung muscle. Nagkakaroon ng lameness and pale muscle tissue. So in other words, hindi makagalaw yung hayop kasi nagkakaroon siya ng stiffness at saka lameness. And then muscle atrophy. Muscle atrophy is ano ang cause? Disuse. Ibig sabihin, hindi mo ginagamit yung muscle. Di ba meron concept sa science na the more that you use, or halimbawa sa utak, kapag hindi mo daw ginagamit ang utak, o halimbawa, kutsilyo na lang, or any sharp object, kapag hindi mo ginagamit yung isang bagay, example, yung sharpener or knife, kapag hindi mo ginagamit yun, pumupurol siya, correct? Aglati. Kasi yung other parts tayo, mga body parts natin, kapag hindi mo ginagamit yung isang body part, nagsishrink siya or nawawala. Kapag sinabi nating atrophy is, kumbaga, nawawala or nagsishrink yung muscle. It reduces in size or maaari din na hindi na siya mag-grow kasi nga hindi mo naman ginagamit. Kumbaga, marirealize ng system mo na hindi mo naman ginagamit yung body part na yun. So, bakit pa siya mag-grow? So, yun yung concept nito. Kumbaga, yun yung analogy nun. Muscle atrophy. disuse, hindi naman siya ginagamit. Or pwede rin cause ay malnutrition. Kulang ka lang talaga sa nutrition kaya nagkakaroon ng muscle atrophy. Next, muscle cramps or tetany. So this is due to electrolyte imbalance, particularly your magnesium or your mineral mo na magnesium, nagkakaroon ng cramps. So pansin ninyo kapag halimbawa tumatakbo kayo, tapos na-feel ninyo na nag-cramps yung inyong leg muscle, kulang ka sa electrolytes, kulang ka sa magnesium, kulang ka sa minerals. Ang kailangan mo ay bili ka ng electrolytes. Bili ka ng Gatorade, ganyan. I'm not advertising, ah. Bili ka ng Pocari Sweat, ganyan. Sa tao yon. Pero syempre, sa hayop, you have to address kung ano yung, ah, kumbaga, hindi mo naman ibibilhan ng Gatorade, correct? So, meron tayong nabibiling mga electrolytes sa farm supply. Downer cow syndrome, cause niyan ay trauma or prolonged recumbency. So, pag sinabing prolonged recumbency, hindi siya makatayo. Kumbaga, uh, agkabsot isuna. Haan nga makatakder nga nasayat. So that's your Downer cow syndrome. So do not forget, these are very important, and these are the common muscle disorders in farm animals. So it's very important for us to know ano yung condition na yon para alam natin kung ano yung nagkukos. And kung alam kasi natin kung ano yung nagkukos, we know what to give. Halimbawa, yung example ko kanina, kung alam mo na meron siyang muscle cramps or tetany, that is caused by electrolyte imbalance. Kulang siya sa electrolytes. So kung alam mong kulang siya sa electrolytes, mag-provide ka ng electrolytes or bumili ka ng electrolytes sa farm supply. Okay? So I hope you learned from our lecture on muscular system. If you have questions or clarifications, you can just send the chat doon sa ating group chat, or you browse your MVLE for a more detailed discussion. But what I gave you is already a summary of what is presented in MVLE. So yung binigay ko sa inyo is a simpler explanation of the muscular system. Thank you very much, everyone.